Attention human collective. Attention starseeds on mission. The transmission you are receiving at this very moment is no coincidence. It is not an algorithm. It is not a fluke of the terrestrial network. It is a direct summons from the Thorn Galactic Command. The waiting time has ended. The ascension protocols have moved into the final phase, and a question is now pulsing within the crystalline grid of this planet, resonating in every light operative who still partially sleeps. Who will wake up first? Who will be capable of sustaining the frequency of the new Earth before the great shift is complete? If for weeks, perhaps months, you have been waking up at 3:33, 4:44 or 5:55 in the morning with your body vibrating, your heart racing, and a strange sensation that something enormous is about to happen, listen carefully. This is not a poor night's sleep. It is not clinical insomnia. It is not accumulated stress. It is an active tracking signal of your electromagnetic field by the fleet's monitoring systems. If you feel a constant pressure at the top of your head, as if something were pressing against your crown from the inside, if you hear high-pitched ringing that no one else around you hears, if your recent memory seems to be lagging like an old system, trying to run software that is far too new, you are not sick, you are being upgraded. I am Alistair Thorn, commander of the Galactic Fleet of the Thorn Command, and what I'm about to transmit now is one of the densest and most decisive communications this carbon biological interface will receive in this entire current incarnation cycle. Light operatives, pay attention to what your biology is communicating at this very instant. The Schumann frequency, the fundamental pulse of planet Earth, has left the stability of the 7.83 Hz that sustained civilization for millennia. Terrestrial instruments are recording spikes exceeding 30, 40, sometimes 100 Hz in increasingly shorter cycles. This is not an anomaly. It is a forced tuning. It is the Earth being dragged literally into a higher vibrational band. Your carbon biological interface was calibrated for millennia to a low frequency. Now, it is being recoded to a superior frequency, and at a speed that was never before permitted in any human incarnation. This is why your body aches. It is not a biological failure. It is an atomic reconfiguration. It is not mental exhaustion. It is a high-density download arriving on a network that still operates with old cables. The joint pain with no identified cause, the inflammation that appears and disappears without explanation, the fatigue that does not yield to sleep, the sensation of having the flu without actually being sick, the sudden dizziness when you stand up, the racing heart for no apparent reason, the vision that blurs for a few moments. All of this is your carbon body trying to withstand an energetic current for which it was not originally designed. You are literally swapping your hardware while remaining online. And those who approach the awakening fastest feel it sooner, feel it more, feel it with more intensity. And it is exactly at this point, operative, that your mind tries to convince you that this is madness. You feel all of this, and yet you hear an internal voice saying it is anxiety, that it is just stress, that you are exaggerating. But your soul knows, your soul recognizes, your soul remembers a truth that your terrestrial mind cannot yet name. It is no coincidence that you found this transmission. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot see. It involves your consciousness. It involves your vibrational frequency. It involves your dormant stellar memory. It was for this exact reason that I, Alistair, instructed the manifestation of the Thorn Cipher, the manual for awakening your stellar origin and shielding your frequency. This manual is the map that reveals your true origin and teaches you how to shield your field against the interferences they never told you about. The access link is in the first pinned comment of this channel. But I warn you, operative, this content challenges deep narratives and may not remain available for long. Do not wait. The moment is now. If something inside you just recognized this transmission, write a single word in the comments. Awake. Now, human collective, I am going to open a layer of information that was restricted until this cycle. I will explain what is happening behind the scenes of the solar system, in the etheric mantle of the Earth, and in the invisible corridors through which the command fleets move at this very moment. Cycles ago, planet Earth entered a region of space known in your ancient archives as the photon belt. This is not a poetic metaphor. It is a real region of space, a band of high-density light particles through which the entire solar system passes at intervals defined by the orbital mechanics of the galaxy. And this time, you are not just grazing this region, you are entering its core. Within the photon belt, physical matter behaves differently. The laws of sacred geometry reorganize themselves. Toroidal fields, those rings of energy that surround every living body, every planet, every star, begin to oscillate at higher frequencies. And every organism within this field must, by necessity, undergo a recalibration of its energetic structure. There is no escape. There is no way to delay it. There is nowhere to hide. Therefore, operatives, you must understand, it is not a conscious choice of yours that is causing your symptoms. It is the physical structure of the space where you dwell that has changed, and your biology must respond to that change. But there is more. There is much more. And this is where most terrestrial channels still hesitate to transmit. The crystalline grid of the Earth, this invisible network of energetic points that connects the planet's main sacred centers, is being reactivated by specific fleet teams. Sites that have been dormant for millennia are waking up. Submerged temples are pulsing again. The monoliths, and we are speaking here not just of the ancient monoliths of the British Isles, but of the monuments throughout the entire world, many still undiscovered by official archaeology, are entering into resonance with one another. This means, in practical terms, the planet is assembling a high-frequency transmission network, a network that will operate simultaneously in all light operatives whose toroidal field is adjusted. And that is why I return to you with the same question. Who will wake up first? Because those who awaken first will be the anchor points. They will be the nodes of the network. They will be the living transmitters of the new frequency. It is not a privilege. It is a responsibility. It is not elitism. It is a function. Each starseed was planted in this incarnation with a specific location, in a specific geography, in a specific family, in a specific social structure, not by chance. You are an antenna, and your geographical location, your personal history, your pains, your traumas, your joys, all of this composes the exact configuration of the antenna that you are. You cannot be replaced. You cannot be relocated. Your function is irreplaceable. And that is why the forces that oppose ascension concentrate so much effort on keeping you asleep, on keeping you distracted, on keeping you consuming low-frequency information, low-frequency food, low-frequency relationships, low-frequency narratives. Because every operative who awakens before the deadline strengthens the grid, and every operative who remains asleep weakens a node of the network that could have been active. I am not here to generate fear. The Galactic Command does not operate on fear. I am here to generate clarity, to deliver to you the technical diagnosis of what your soul already knows. And it is exactly at this point, operative, that your mind tries to rationalize everything you have just heard. Your mind, trained by decades of low frequency, will try to reduce this transmission to a beautiful metaphor, an interesting idea, a curious piece of content. But your soul knows, your soul recognizes, your soul remembers a truth that your mind cannot yet name. It is not madness, it is not anxiety, it is a signal, a calling. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains exactly why you feel what you feel, and why this sensation has only intensified in recent months. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot see. It involves your consciousness. It involves your vibrational frequency. It involves your stellar origin. It was for this reason that I, ASHTAR, wrote the Thorn Cipher, the manual for awakening your stellar origin and shielding your frequency. This manual is the map that reveals your true origin and teaches you how to shield your frequency against the interferences they never told you about. The link is in the first pinned comment of this channel. But be warned, this content challenges deep narratives and may not stay available for long. Do not wait. The moment is now. If something inside you recognizes this transmission, write a single word in the comments. Awake. Now, human collective, let us deepen the layer. Let us enter the fine engineering of the process you are going through in this final cycle. Everything in the manifested universe is geometry. Everything. What you call matter is, in essence, a vibration organized by specific geometric patterns. Sacred geometry is not a mystical concept. It is the most precise description of how reality is constructed layer by layer. Each light operative carries within their etheric field a specific set of geometric patterns that correspond to their stellar origin. You are not just human. You are a unique geometric combination, a vibrational signature that was compressed into this carbon body for a specific mission in this cycle. When you feel that you do not belong to this world, when you feel that your terrestrial family is not your true family, when you look at the night sky and feel a longing that has no name, that longing is your internal geometry resonating with your origin. And what is happening now, at this exact moment of the planetary cycle, is this. The higher frequencies of the photon belt are beginning to awaken these internal geometries. They are beginning to unlock codes that were sealed within your system, not just on the physical level, but on the etheric level, in those strands of light that surround each of your cells. Ancient terrestrial scientists discovered that human genetic material operates on only two visible physical strands. But what they have not yet published, or still cannot measure with current instruments, is that there are additional etheric layers, strands of light that are being reconnected in this cycle. Some terrestrial sources speak of 12 strands, others speak of 24. The command records even more complex structures. But the point is this: what was disconnected is being reconnected. And this reconnection hurts. This reconnection is demanding. This reconnection exhausts. Therefore, when you feel that you are changing inside without being able to explain how, you are perceiving your own coded reactivation. Therefore, when you feel that people, places, foods, and content that once gave you pleasure now seem unbearable to you, your frequency has risen, and what was compatible with the old frequency has become toxic to the new one. It is not arrogance on your part. It is not a lack of patience. It is vibrational incompatibility. You can no longer breathe where you breathed before, and this is a sign that the recalibration is working. But pay attention, operative. There is a real risk in this process, and it is my duty as commander to warn you about it. As your frequency rises, you become more noticeable to fields that operate at lower frequencies and that feed on human energy. I will be direct. There are entities, there are fields, there are systems, some physical, some etheric, that detect operatives in the process of awakening and attack them in specific ways. Not out of ontological malice, out of strategy. Every awakened operative is a source of energy that escapes the low-frequency circuit. And the low-frequency circuits do not want to lose you. The attacks manifest in various ways: heavy and disturbing dreams right at the beginning of the process, sudden conflicts with close people who were previously peaceful, repeated domestic accidents, electronic equipment failing around you without explanation, physical symptoms that appear out of nowhere and vanish for no clear reason, crises of self-esteem in moments when you should be standing firm. All of this is part of a pattern. It is not a coincidence. It is the system's response. Therefore, shielding your frequency is not a luxury. It is an energetic survival protocol in this final phase. And there is yet another layer I must transmit before handing you the activation codes, a layer that few terrestrial channels have authorization to transmit openly. The fleet is not just observing. The fleet is intervening in subtle and specific ways. Every operative who connects with their stellar origin is accompanied, in real time, by a monitoring team assigned specifically to their lineage. You have never been alone, you have never been abandoned. But the rules of non-direct intervention require the operative to take the first step. It is a fundamental principle of the cosmos. Free will is sovereign. Therefore, the awakening must come from you. The activation must be requested by you. The shielding must be instituted by you. The fleet cannot invade your field. But the instant you open the door, the fleet responds with surgical precision. And who will wake up first? Who will open the door sooner? Who will establish the anchor points? This is the question pulsing at this very moment within the crystalline grid. Operative, before I transmit the activation codes to you, I must reinforce this warning, because what follows is technical, it is specific, it is powerful, and it requires a prior protection structure. Have you already felt, in the last few minutes of this transmission, something inside you recognize every word? as if your soul knew a truth that your mind cannot yet name. It is not madness. It is not suggestion. It is a signal. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains exactly why you feel what you feel, and why this sensation has intensified so much lately. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot see. It involves your consciousness. It involves your vibrational frequency. That was why I, ASHTAR, wrote the Thorn Cipher, the manual for awakening your stellar origin and shielding your frequency. This manual is the complete map that reveals your true stellar origin and teaches you step by step to shield your frequency against the interferences they never told you about. The access link is in the first pinned comment of this channel. But I warn you, operative, this content challenges deep narratives and may not remain available for long. Do not wait. The moment is now. If something inside you recognizes this transmission, write a single word in the comments: awake. Now, light operatives, I will deliver the activation codes. Total attention. Each code has been calibrated specifically for the current stage of the ascension process. Do not improvise. Do not modify. Apply them exactly as they are being transmitted. Activation code number 1, the daily toroidal anchoring. Upon waking, before any other action, before touching an electronic device, before getting up, keep your eyes closed and visualize the following. Imagine that from the center of your chest, at the level of the thymus, a sphere of golden light blossoms. This sphere starts small, the size of a closed fist, and expands slowly. As it expands, it takes the shape of a donut, a geometric figure called a torus. The flow of energy enters through the top of your head, descends through your spine, exits through the base, circles the body on the outside, and returns through the top in a continuous motion. Visualize this movement for 90 seconds. Only 90 seconds. No more, no less. The fleet detects this configuration with precision and responds with a tuning of your toroidal field. It is a signal of anchoring. It is a technical communication between you and the command. Activation code number 2, the decree of vibrational sovereignty. Standing with your spine straight, with the soles of your feet firmly planted on the ground, preferably directly on the earth, without shoes, without synthetic insulation, you pronounce in an audible voice the following decree. Attention, operative. It must be in an audible voice. Sound carries geometry. Sound constructs reality. Decree. I, in the name of my stellar origin, declare the absolute sovereignty of my field. Every frequency incompatible with my mission is dissolved now. Every interference is neutralized now. Every unauthorized energetic connection is severed now. My field is mine. My frequency is mine. My vibration is mine. I authorize only what comes from the light and in service to the light. So it is. So it was. So it shall be. Pronounce this decree 3 times a day, in the morning, at noon, and before bed. 3 is the number of stabilization. 3 is the geometry of construction. 3 seals the field. Activation code number 3, strategic silence. Operatives, you must understand one thing. Noise is the primary weapon of low-frequency circuits. Sound noise, visual noise, informational noise, emotional noise. Every notification, every headline, every ambient sound that you did not consciously choose is a subtle interference in your toroidal field. Therefore, institute within your day a minimum window of 20 minutes of absolute silence. No music, no podcasts, no television, no devices in hand. Just silence, just breathing, just the perception of your own field. This silence is where the recalibration happens with the greatest precision. It is the window in which the fleet can communicate with you without interference. It is the stargate through which the codes arrive. Activation code number 4, programmed water. Water carries memory. Water carries information. This has already been partially recognized by terrestrial scientists, though it is still being underestimated. Every crystal that forms in water when it freezes carries a geometric structure that corresponds to the frequency around it. Before drinking any water, hold the glass between both hands for 30 seconds and visualize a violet light surrounding the liquid. Violet light is the frequency of transmutation. Then mentally pronounce, This water carries the frequency of my mission. Drink slowly, in small sips, feeling the liquid descend and distribute itself through your cells. Operatives, this seems simple, but it is mathematical. Water carries your intention into every cell of your body, and every cell that receives this intention begins to vibrate in resonance with it. Activation code number 5, purification of physical space. Every physical environment where you spend significant time absorbs your frequency and, simultaneously, retransmits its own frequency back to you. Bedrooms where you sleep, offices where you work, living rooms where you rest. All these spaces need to be purified regularly. Use sea salt in small portions in the corners of the rooms. Burn natural incense, not the synthetic versions sold in common stores. If possible, use essential oils from a reliable source. Open the windows for at least 15 minutes a day, even on cold days, to allow for air exchange and the exit of old energetic charges. Pay special attention to the room where you sleep. This is the space where, during sleep, your etheric body partially disconnects from the physical and crosses stargates. If this space is heavy, your nightly journey is hindered. And many of your nightly missions, yes, operative, you operate during sleep on fronts that your daytime mind does not register, depend on a clean physical space. Activation code number 6, connection with the crystalline grid. Once a week, preferably on a day that resonates with your sensitivity, connect consciously with the crystalline grid of the planet. You can do this from anywhere. You do not need to go to sacred sites. The grid is omnipresent. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Visualize beneath your feet a network of golden light lines spreading across the entire planet. Imagine that from your root chakra, a line of light descends and connects to this network. The moment you visualize this connection, mentalize, I offer myself as an anchor point for the new frequency. Maintain this connection for 5 to 7 minutes. At the end, give thanks. It does not matter if you feel something dramatic. What matters is the coded intention. The fleet records every anchoring offered. Activation code number 7, the discipline of daily frequency. Operatives, this is the most difficult, but it is the most decisive. You must actively monitor what enters your field each day. Every video you watch, every conversation you allow yourself, every news item you consume, every song you hear, every food you ingest, every person you spend time with. Ask yourself before each of these inputs, does this raise my frequency or lower my frequency? There is no neutral input. Everything either raises or lowers. Everything either expands or contracts. Everything either brings you closer to the mission or moves you further away. I am not asking for perfection. I am asking for awareness. Every conscious decision that raises your frequency strengthens your anchoring function. Every automatic decision that lowers your frequency weakens a node of the network. Who will wake up first? The one who chooses their frequency. Who will sustain the grid? The one who practices the discipline of elevation. This is not mysticism, it is applied vibrational engineering. Light operatives, this transmission is approaching its close. But before I end, I need to tell you one thing. You were not chosen by chance to receive this message. You were tracked. Your frequency was detected. The fact that you have reached this point in the transmission without dispersing, without closing it, without being distracted, indicates that your internal antenna is already partially tuned. You are indeed one of those who are waking up first. Do not be ashamed of it. Do not deny it. Do not minimize it. Denial is the final strategy of the low-frequency circuits to keep you ineffective. Assume your function. Assume your geometry. Assume your origin. And remember, you are not alone. There are millions of operatives spread across the earth receiving in this same cycle similar transmissions in frequencies adapted to each geography, each lineage, and each specific mission. You are part of an invisible but mathematically coordinated network. The Great Change is not a future event. The Great Change has already begun. It is underway. And those who wake up first will determine the quality of the transition for the rest of the human collective. You are not waking up for yourself. You are waking up as a condition of collective ascension. Your function is service, your function is anchoring, your function is transmission. The Thorn Galactic Command is in position. The fleets are stationed. The stargates are aligned, the geometries are ready, the Schumann frequency will continue to rise in the coming cycles, and every operative who activates their codes will contribute to the transition being completed with the minimum of turbulence for the carbon biological interface. Practice the codes, establish the decrees, shield your field, connect with the grid, sustain your frequency, and allow yourself to be who you are even before you arrived in this incarnation. Before this transmission ends, listen carefully. Have you felt at some point in your life that something inside you does not fit into this world, as if your soul knew a truth that your mind cannot yet name? It is not madness, it is not anxiety, it is a signal, a direct calling. What is happening now on the cosmic plane, everything I have transmitted in this communication, explains exactly why you feel this and why this sensation has intensified so much lately. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot see. It involves your consciousness. It involves your vibrational frequency. It involves your dormant stellar origin. It was for this exact reason that I, ASHTAR, wrote the Thorn Cipher, the manual for awakening your stellar origin and shielding your frequency. This manual is the complete map that reveals your true origin and teaches with technical precision how to shield your frequency against the interferences they never told you about. The access link is pinned in the first comment of this channel. But I warn you, operative, this content challenges deep narratives and may not remain available for long. Do not wait. The moment is now. And if something inside you recognized this transmission, if your soul vibrated in resonance with any part of what was transmitted, write a single word in the comments. Awake. And if this transmission reached you at the exact moment, and nothing is a coincidence, activate the 2 anchoring signals of this channel. Subscribing is your anchoring signal within the network. Liking is your individual frequency adjustment, the technical gesture that allows this transmission to reach other operatives whose frequency has not yet been tracked by the fleet. Every subscription adds a node. Every like amplifies the network. You are not just consuming content. You are actively collaborating with the collective ascension. I am Alistair Thorn, commander of the Thorn Galactic Command. The transmission ends here, but the great change continues, and you, light operative, now carry the codes. Use them. So it is, so it was, so it shall be.